There was a little boy named Brian. It was a special day that day because he woke up knowing that he was going to go to the carnival. Everybody loves going to the carnival. It comes once a year. And lucky enough, today was the day that the carnival was going to be in Brian's town. He woke up before his mom did, before his dad did. He quickly ran up, brushed his teeth, got dressed, and woke up his mom and dad and said, "Mom, Dad, hurry up, let's go, we're going to the carnival." And his mom and dad said, "Oh, we have to get ready, we have to eat breakfast, and then we're going to go. We're not going to go right away, we have to eat before we go." It's like, okay. So his mom cooked pancakes, and they got ready, and they ate, and then they headed out to the carnival. They got to the carnival. It was packed full of people. There were people everywhere. There were rides going on. There was cotton candy, funnel cakes. There was candy apples. It was the best carnival that he's ever seen in all the years that the carnival has come to his town. So they started to jump on all the rides, and his dad and his mom took turns riding on the rides with him. And then they got to a ride that was super spooky, super scary. It had skeletons all over. It had evil looking clowns, and it had these pictures of wild things all over it. It was so scary, and it made noises as the ride was going around.
What's the skeleton making? Like this?
The skeleton was doing that big time, and for whatever reason, it was even dark around the ride. It was daytime, but it was really weird that it was dark around the ride. But Brian really wanted to go on the ride, and it was the longest line out of all the rides, and they made the line, and they were on it forever, and finally it was their turn to jump on the ride. And then the man that works at the carnival said, "There's only room for one person, just one." And Brian said, "Mom, Dad, can I go by myself?" And they said, "Sure, you can go by yourself on the super scariest ride in the carnival. You sure?" And Brian said, "Yes, I'm 7 years old now. I'm big. I can handle it." All right. So he gets on the ride, and the ride starts spinning, and it starts off slow, and it starts going faster and faster and faster. And
was it like this?
It started going so fast.
Was it like this?
Yes. And then Brian could see his parents. Every time it spun, he could see his parents.
Daddy, what were the googly guys? Those googly guys. They're so scared. They go like this. And they eat you.
And then, yeah, there were googly guys over there. And then, what happened next will shock you. Every time the ride passed in front of his parents, when it spun around, he would wave to them, "Hi, Mom and Dad, I love you." And they would wave back and say, "I love you too." And then, all of a sudden, about halfway through the ride, when he spins around and he sees his parents, he sees a gargoyle standing right behind his parents, waving at him too and laughing. And he thought maybe it was a kid dressed up. And then he spun again around, and then there were two gargoyles. And every time it spun, there was an extra gargoyle until there were so many gargoyles around his parents he couldn't see them.
When a guy was laughing like this, you're so funny.
Yes, just like that. And then the gremlins were coming out.
What the?
Gremlins were coming out, and they were going crazy around the theme park, around the fair, and his parents disappeared. They couldn't see his parents. And then all of a sudden, as the ride started to slow down, he realized that everything was back to normal. The gargoyles were gone and the gremlins were gone. Everything was back to normal, and everybody was walking around the theme park having fun.
Were the daddies and mommies were there?
No, that's the only difference. His mom and dad were gone. The gremlins were gone, the gargoyles were gone, and the evil skeletons were all gone, but also his mom and dad were gone. So
were the trees gone? Were the whole planet gone?
No, the planet was still there. And so he gets off of the ride. The man tells him, all right, you can't stay here. You need to get off the ride. And he's like, but Brian is like, where's my mom and my dad? And the man that worked at the carnival kind of laughed and smirked at him and said, I don't know, Brian, but you need to get off the ride. And Brian said, how do you know my name? And he started to laugh. And then he just got him up.
Laughing?
The man that worked on the ride that made him get off the ride. And when he laughed, he didn't have any teeth. He didn't have any teeth. He had a bug that was like a cockroach crawling on his gums. And a worm that popped out, like where his tonsils are. It was popping out.
Was it like this?
Yeah, it was. And then the cockroach ate the worm.
Ew.
And then he gets out from the ride, and he's there sitting on a bench just waiting for his mom and dad, and he's trying to hold back the tears, hold them back, and right when he's about to cry, this man that works at the carnival comes up to him.
Do like this, that when he's sitting he finds a bully. When like the little boy is sitting on that bench, he finds a bully that's walking after him and says, hello, kid.
Right.
Jerk.
Don't say that word, baby.
Yeah.
So he told him, little boy, do you need help? Can I help you? He was a guy that looked mean.
That?
Just a guy that works at the carnival comes up to him, and he's like, yes. My name is Brian, and I'm trying to find my mom and dad. And the man started to laugh and said, you're not going to find your parents ever again. Ha, 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 ha. You're going to stay here with us forever. Ha, 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 ha. And then Brian quickly looked up and realized that the park had closed. And all the moms and dads and the kids were all gone. It was just the people that work at the carnival there. And the people were all staring at him, laughing and pointing. And so Brian started to run.
I want that visible guy to come up in the story.
So what happens is he starts to run. And all of the workers...
The visible guy laughing like this. Ah, 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 ah.
So what happens is Brian is running. And he's looking back at all the carnival workers running after him. And they're all running after him. And they have weapons. And they're all yelling, we're going to eat you tonight. We're going to eat you, Brian.
Did one have a knife?
Yes. And then
one had like a grenade launcher. If she threw a grenade in, it was blown up.
Yeah. Yes. One of them had a grenade launcher, an RPG. And so they were shooting RPGs and throwing everything.
But when the RPG saw, it was like, and then like the bad guy came up. He said, we got you neck. And then was like this.
No, Brian was
Sit down.
Brian was way fast. Nothing was getting him. He was scared. But one thing that he could do is he could run extremely fast. And he's running and looking back, and then he runs into something. He didn't see it. He didn't see that there was something there.
Was he like this? Looking that way?
Yes. And he looked up, and it was a man. It was an invisible man. He knew that somebody was there because he was wearing a hat. And then he knew that the invisible man was about to grab him. So he started to get up and run, and he could feel something. It was definitely the invisible man that grabbed him by the jacket. He was able to unzip his jacket, get out, take off his jacket, and continue running. He looked back, and his jacket was floating in the air because the invisible man was holding it. And he was running, running, running. And then he saw a big bucket of popcorn, and he jumped in. And all the workers ran past the bucket of popcorn. And he moved some of the popcorn when nobody was around. And he saw that there was a shed across the way. And it said, "Danger, do not enter, explosives, fireworks inside." So he goes, he runs out of the popcorn, and he's starting to open up the door, and it was locked, and he's yanking on the door. It was an old door with an old doorknob, and it was almost broken. And then they heard the door opening, or him making noise hitting the door. So they all said, "Hey, Brian is over there. Let's go get him. I'm hungry." And they started running after him.
Well, it was like it seems like this.
And so
like marching.
He goes in, closes the door behind him, locks it, and he starts looking around, and sure enough, there's mountains and mountains of explosives, TNT, everywhere. And he started scrambling, looking for a match. He knew if he could find a match, he could cause a big explosion that would blow everybody up. And he started looking, and they were breaking down the door, breaking it down. He found a match, and it had 2 matches in it only. He gets one. He turns it on.
Do you have to feed, Gavin?
No.
Why do you keep moving?
Just so fun.
And then he tries to light the match so he can light the fuse to the explosives. And then it doesn't light. He takes the other one, he lights it, and he lights the fuse and lights it up, and the explosions are about to explode, and he jumps out the back window, runs out, and right then they break open the door, and they all run inside the room that says "Danger, explosives," and boom, the fireworks exploded and took them all out. And Brian was...
But the invisible guy was still alive because everything can just go through him.
Yes, but but Brian was able to escape because the invisible guy was so sad that his whole family exploded in the explosion. All right. You want to say anything to your YouTube fans?
Yeah. So you need to like and subscribe right now. I'll be so happy. And I love you guys so much. And you want to see my Minecraft channel?
Stay tuned for my Minecraft channel.
Stay tuned for my Minecraft.